Hey everybody, I am Tommy Scoville and you are on the Love Boat. What's happening? I don't know if you guys had a great night. Boy, did I have a good night. You know what? My tooth is killing me, but I am inspired by the legend, the great Johnny Scoville. The and the insulinus, they say, his tolerance shrunk 10 times that day. Not exactly sure what happened, but boy, oh boy, was that awesome, huh? Put a deuce in the chat if you happen to have caught my brother's latest hot sauce review. And by hot sauce, I mean hot sauce review. Holy mackerel. Hello, Jane Aldrich. Good to see you. Ms. Rose, good to have you here. Kristen Melinda. Hey, honey, how are you? Brock Bandy, good to see you. Barbara Aldrich is here. Timothy Glass, there you are. Chilly in the Valley. Boy, oh boy. Just as I am, good to see you. Jeremy Fowler, what's happening? I am so glad to see everyone here. I'll be 63 in November, and my nursing job was eliminated yesterday. I felt so embarrassed to sign up for unemployment today. Oh, you know what? Put some thoughts and prayers for Renee B. You know what? This is a new chapter. You have no idea what the future is going to bring. Kellyanne, good to see you. You are funny. Renee B, this is an opportunity, right? Every time a door shuts, another one opens, or a window does, or some such crap. It's a good cliche for a reason. My plans have changed so much in the last 6 months that I have come to believe that in a lot of ways, if you're open to it, we're kind of like a leaf on a river, and that's not such a bad thing. Just Joan, good to see you. Hello, how are you? The B lady's here, present and accounted for. I love it. There's Brock Bandy. The B lady, Timothy Glass, Jeremy Fowler. Look, the gang is all here. And a lot of you got a chance to see that really fantastic show that my brother just did. You know, a legend, and he'll have to deal with this because I have the microphone. It's easy to be a legend when people are telling you how damn good you are. No one will employ someone your age. Nonsense, Renee B. Nonsense. I'll tell you a quick story. I have a friend. You see him in the chat every once in a while. And when he got out of prison, he was not a criminal in the sense of the word that I was a criminal. He was a guy that made a mistake. It was a split-second mistake. It was he was in a fight, and it was in a fight where he was in a great deal of danger. And he swung at somebody and missed and hit someone else that had nothing to do with the fight. And that person didn't make it, ended up killing that person. And he went to prison. He pled guilty at his arraignment, which is unheard of. You don't do it. You plead not guilty, and then they cut a deal and they work. He went in there and said, I want to plead guilty today. And the judge literally tried to make it so that he couldn't do it. But he wasn't a criminal. And he said, I did this. I'm not going to play all of the games. He ended up getting a life sentence. And in the state we were in, life sentences come in a couple of varieties. One of them is without, right? And that means that you're going to do natural life and you'll die in prison. What he had was a 15-year minimum that he had to do before he was eligible to get out. When he did get out, no one would hire him. And I mean, no one would hire him. So this is what happened. He came over to see me at my house, and my father was there. And he said, you know what, no one will hire me. And it's because my crime, you know, when I go in there, I have to tell people I killed someone. He says, it's just not the kind of thing someone's going to take a chance on. And my dad, who was just one of those people that was so wise, my dad said, oh no, someone's going to take a chance on you. You know, he said, how many applications have you put in? And I think at the time he had said like 15. And my dad said, it might take 150. But someone is going to look at you and go, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this isn't that person. And the story's fantastic because they did give him a job. And the guy said to him, I can hire you for the Christmas season. It's going to take 90 days before this gets in front of the people who are going to then say, you have to fire this guy. But it's a foot in the door, and you got an opportunity to at least get some paychecks before Christmas. And when Montgomery Andrew, you're good. Don't worry about it. When that time came and they said to him, hey, you need to fire this guy. His manager said, if you fire him, I'm going to leave with him. How's that? He said he's the best employee I ever had. He was sleeping there some nights because so many people would blow off the seasonal job. And I was his ride. The first time he called me and said, I don't need a ride. I said, oh, don't do this, man. You just got out. Let me come get you. I don't know what you're doing. He said, no, I'm going to work back to backs. I said, you're going to work 16 hours. He said, I am. And he did probably 10 or 15 of those during the holiday season. just literally one shift right after another. And they put up a cot for him because of how much time he was working there. He was able to stay at that position. The fact that his manager went to bat for him the way he did. But this was a guy who was unhireable. No one was going to touch him. And afterwards, I've worked with so many people who just got out of prison, and I throw that story in their face because they'll say to me, I can't get a job. I'm going to end up going back to doing what I was doing, dealing drugs, stealing, whatever that might be. And I say, how many applications did you put in? I put in like 15 of them. And I was like, no, man, you're just going to keep putting them in until they get you. And it will happen. I promise you it will, if you want to continue to work. And you don't know. Maybe there are other plans in store. Archie's mom, good to see you. This is a cross that I'm wearing around my neck. Chase the yogurt. That's the legend, Johnny Scoville. It's easy to be a legend when people tell you you're great. When they roast you because your tolerance has gone from a 15 to a deuce. I was more proud of my brother tonight than I've ever been. I don't know that I would have been able to. It was all good-natured fun. But if you've built a career on being the kind of cat that could and screenshot, says Jeremy Fowler. Oh, that's great. Yeah, he's hitting the yogurt again. Don't kid yourself. When the stream ended, he drank 3 gallons of it. I can't back that up. I really can't. But I'd like to work at the Lego store at this point. Well, there you go. See, you just don't know what the future holds, Renee B. But I promise you, it's going to be something cool. And then you're going to have to come on here and go, you know what? Tommy was right. I'm telling you, something fantastic is coming your way. Something fantastic is coming your way. The doctor that worked at Victorville Prison when I was there, they hired him at 70. He was 70 years old when they hired him. His first name was Jesus. He was one of the kindest people I've ever met. And he was the only doctor that I came in contact with, and I mean MD doctor, that I came in contact with in the federal system that wasn't there because they screwed up so bad in the real world that was the only place they could work. He was there because it was very close to his house, and he thought, well, you know what, I can come out of retirement, work here a couple of days a week, but he cared about the people. Instead of just being bitter as hell because the job that he had, which made him a lot of money, he lost because he got caught, doing something. I believe most of the doctors and he did a lot for me. He was really a good man. I'm also looking into getting a job, says Jamie Palmer. I have one that I am really eyeing, just waiting to get some ducks in a row mall here. And it's just down the street from where I live. And they're the coolest people in the world because everybody there makes what they sell. They're not buying stuff. My bracelet is an anchor. I don't know if you can see that, but it is an anchor. It's leather that's hand woven, and the guy that made it. And I walk by it every day. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to pop in there and see what kind of stuff they have. And I've made a few friends. Worked with some of the guys that are trying to get sober. I was there, showing all of that. But there's also, what is their anchor? What's keeping them, anchored to sobriety? And I think it's the symbolism there is great. So I was trying to pick up 32 of these bracelets, which is putting the guy that makes these in a bit of a bind. But he thinks he's going to be able to get them for me all finished by next week. Hello and love to everyone. Laughing sounds fantastic. Heather Rhodes, seeing my brother burn, right? And I mean really burn like he does to me. I'm laughing. And I'll tell you right now, my pain level is, I wouldn't go live normally. I wouldn't. This is more pain than I would usually go live with. I'm uncomfortable. But there's something about laughter that just, it makes things better. It really is the best medicine, I promise. And you know what? It's cheap. They don't charge a lot of money for it. Caroline in Canada, good to see you. Glad you're here. In fact, all I had to do to get this was watch my brother get burned. And I'm not joking. He's been doing this to me for 51 of my 55 years. Chickacherry Cola, good to see you. You know what? A nursing job in jail might not be bad. Rehabilitation centers are always looking for people. That's an industry that has a very high turnover rate. Clinics that do things like methadone and Suboxone and Subutex and those kind of clinics are another one. But it may be one of these situations where you're really needed for a reason, right? They need someone like you, and we'll see. I have very high hopes. I look forward to seeing what is going to happen to you. I really do. I hope it keeps you in his grace. You are in mine. Oh, what a kind thing to say. I really appreciate that. It's a good reminder. There are times that I'm not great. There are times I'm not great at concentrating on things that are important. And this thing is kind of weighty. It doesn't look like it, but it's really kind of weighty. And having it hanging around the neck is it's a reminder, and I like it. I really like it. Ghislaine Maxwell just got a job promotion. Do you think her next job will be as head of the Department of Justice? You know what? That whole situation is just unbelievable. So is the Diddy thing. There's a lot. I will be doing some night shows here shortly. By the way, that's also where I picked this up. I love this hat. It's the coolest hat ever. It really is. It's got the ECU, right? It's got the Ecuadorian thing on there. It says Ecuadorian on the back. And it's got the Lacoste alligator. Keep that on the DL. I don't think they paid Lacoste. But really dig the hat. People making things, like doing it themselves, it's an awful lot of fun. The pride that they put into the things that they make. It's also probably where I'll do my Christmas shopping. You can only hear Archie's mom pop out and come back in, because if that was everybody, I think I'd be getting more complaints, and I haven't heard that from anyone else yet. That's a better alligator anyway. Yes, it is. 5x5 here in New York, says the bee lady. Excellent. You know what? My signal is through the roof. This is about as strong a signal as I've had going live in a long time. Probably has a lot to do with how late I'm going live. Yeah, it's probably has a lot to do with how late I'm going live. Simple, basic, not ornate, the way we are. That's right. That's right. The U.S. justice system used to be a huge, obvious now. Boy, you're not kidding, right? Not kidding. I'm distressed. Whenever things are this bad in government, I start getting really worried about the things that they do to distract us from how bad things are. And that's a frightening thing to me. I know that we being the United States. Hello, Ann from Mass. Glad you're here. I'm a little nervous that we're sending boomers, right? We're sending two submarines capable of, wiping the Earth off of the planet. Are now in the ocean heading toward Russia. And that kind of thing always makes me a little bit nervous. We'll catch you all hopefully on replay. Tremendous thunder here. Storms has taken out internet and phone is spotty. Take care all. Much love. Jane Aldrich, thank you for all you do. Jane leaves incredible comments consistently. And I apologize. I had been answering all of my comments. And in the last couple of days, I have not been. It's the tooth, the whole tooth. And nothing but the tooth. It's been throwing me off of my game. So I apologize. No, you know what, Archie's mom, no problem. Sometimes it's difficult to tell whether or not it's you or me. But normally if it's me, I'm hearing it from a lot of people. Normally if it's just one person, it's probably on your end. So if you didn't see Johnny Scoville's video, you got to go over and see it. This was the roast of Johnny Scoville. For real. 5,000 videos or something like that. I'm sorry? 8,000 videos. My goodness. 8,000 videos. Good Lord. In 8,000 videos, there's really never been that video where Johnny's tolerance is so low that we all get a chance to mock him. And it was really done in taste. Everybody was having a lot of fun. Some of the best comments I've seen, really. Kellyanne was on fire. Just really, really funny stuff. And I'm going to go back and watch that 20, 30 times. I'm not kidding. I was 4 years old when Johnny Scoville sat on top of me and forced a pepperoncini into my mouth. Fucking made me eat a hot pepper. It was not hot in these days, but when you're 4, it's pretty damn hot. I'm in sync now. Woohoo! Coming back in helped. Good. Tommy, I fell off the wagon with my journaling again, but I got back on the wagon a few days ago. I feel much better now. Dad got himself involved with a love scam, lost 1K in the process. I'm sorry to hear that. That is really becoming an issue. The number of people that are getting ripped off by people who use the internet in ways that are foul. It's an epidemic. It really is, and it's sad because it's people looking for connection, and it's kind of horrifying that's the leverage that people use as a way to con and scam people. But we all need to be a little bit careful. It's pretty easy stuff too. if the person can't FaceTime with you, run like the wind, right? Shouldn't be that difficult in 2025 to do a little FaceTime. Google people, check stories. I know we've done a bunch of shows about this, but critical thinking kind of goes out the window. You know, some of the easiest stuff in the world to research, we just kind of take it for granted that we don't need to do that kind of research. And it's sad. There's an MMA fighter that had come out. His name is Tim Kennedy. Is that right? Yeah, Tim Kennedy, who was a fighter, pretty prominent fighter in the martial arts arena, the MMA, a cage fighter. And the stuff that he said about his military career, he did 22 different missions and tours, and it's all BS. That he won this medal and that medal, and he had this award given to him, and every bit of it is all BS. And it doesn't take much to look it up. It doesn't take much to research it. My ex-husband got catfished for a bunch of money, and he's smart. He's a tech guy. It can happen to anyone. You're right. And you know why this crime is so insidious? Because if you get scammed, the last thing in the world you want to do is admit that you got scammed. You know, it's so embarrassing. You don't want to go to family and go, hey, that woman that I fell in love with, it turns out he was a guy from Nigeria, right? One of the best crimes from a criminal standpoint ever, I did time with a dude who was going to prison for selling fake wine. He would get bottles of wine that, are basically, $2 chuck, the cheapest wine that you could possibly get. And he would get the labels off of these bottles, and then he would put labels on them from very, very expensive bottles of wine that had already been consumed. And there are bottles of wine that are, $200,000, $300,000. It's a very small group of people that buy this stuff, and they often don't drink it. This is wine that they're going to have sort of just as a collection. And this guy got away with it for years. And then finally, one of the guys that he had been selling to a long time opened one of these bottles. And normally, again, they don't want to come out and say, yeah, I got taken. I'm an idiot. I spent $9 million on wine that I could have bought for $15. And for that reason, the people that do those crimes get away with it. But this was actually one of the Koch brothers, one of the people from the Koch family got scammed and came out and admitted it and said, this guy did this, this, and this. And I ended up doing time with the guy that had been ripping him off. Just got to say, journaling show the day before yesterday was so amazing. I have felt so much mental better. I love that. I love that. You know what? Tomorrow, hell or high water. I'm serious. I don't care if this tooth is playing the drums tomorrow morning. I will be doing a show because the lack of consistency. I feel really bad about it. Here's what I'm going to do. Just on the outside chance that my tooth is so bad tomorrow that I don't feel like I can go live, I'm going to get Johnny to do a sauce review for me. Maybe give him a teaspoon of Tabasco and see what happens. And I would imagine that will get my spirits up. I know it sounds really mean, and I seem like a brother that's not a nice guy. But if you knew the fun he has had, have you ever seen him show pictures of me laying on the ground covered in sweat? What was that? You heard the laugh, didn't you? See, Johnny loves it when I'm the person in pain, but it is so much fun when it's him. And it doesn't happen, The morning shows have a lot of meat in them, says Kellyanne. They really do. And a lot of it comes from you guys. The thing about journaling is this. If you have done it for a long period of time and you have the ability to sort of articulate what journaling has done for you, the shows are rote. They don't take a lot of preparation to do it because it's such a part of my life. It would be like you coming on and describing eating breakfast. It literally has become such an ingrained part of my life that talking about it is really simple. If I'm healthy, it's really easy to go on and talk about journaling. Where the shows become magic is when the people in the chat begin to talk about what journaling is doing for them, or they talk about ask questions that everyone is thinking. It's a rare opportunity online where there's nobody self-conscious in our chats. That's magic. I don't know if you can imagine what a rare thing that is, because being self-conscious it's boiled into us, right? It's dyed in the wool. It's part of being a human. And the group that we have that shows up in the morning, there's just none of that. And everybody is so open and honest about where they're at and what they're trying to do to move forward that it really kind of makes things fantastic. Brock Bandy says it's a brother thing. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the old fish videos, the funniest line in that video where we're eating surströmming is when I said, you know what, it's so much more fun watching you do it. Seeing my brother go through the things that that he's done to me, seeing him, he wanted that yogurt. Like you couldn't see it because it was off camera, but I was doing this one with the yogurt, like handing it to him and pulling him back. And I wish I could do it again right now. It was just so much fun. It really was. If you didn't see Chase the Heat, the roast of Johnny Scoville, this would be the last video that he did tonight. Just go and watch it. You could even watch it on mute and just read the comments, because the comment section was the funniest thing I've seen on YouTube, and I can't remember how long. Hello, Ashley G. I didn't think I would be here tonight either, but my brother getting burned beyond belief. Yeah, it was just magic. Sticking with the Dr. Seuss theme. If you never have, you should. These things are fun, and fun is good. Watching Johnny Scoville get burned, if you've never done that, you really ought to. It is more fun than you can possibly imagine. His superpower is not that he can take hot stuff. There's people all over the planet that can do what my brother can do. His superpower is that he doesn't look like he gets burned. Like he eats hot peppers and it's this kind of thing. Yeah, that's hot. My pain level is at a 6, and you just want to punch him in the face because you're over there and snot's coming out of my nose, and I'm literally just going, end this thing. You know how many times I've been live with Johnny where I'm in absolute agony, and all we got to do is end the video so that I can go and start slamming milk or, lemon juice or whatever I can do, and he'll go, so if you look in the upper left hand, or maybe it's the right, and he'll stretch that last minute of the show and make it take 6 minutes because he knows I'm in pain. Have you ever done that? Tell the truth. Huh?
Guilty as charged.
See? Guilty as charged. So you watched the fish video. It was hysterical. Yeah, if you've never seen the fish video and you have a strong stomach, you should go watch it. Mrs. EP says, bleh, Systroming. Yeah. He's made me do it. How many times now? 3? And one of the times that we did it, that can of Systroming sat in the Arizona desert for 30 days before we did it. I'm not even being funny. We're lucky to still be here. Tommy, do you think Johnny could handle hot honey? At this point, I'm not sure he could do hot Cheetos. I'm not kidding when I tell you that the man's tolerance is gone. We go out and eat ceviche all the time. It's our go-to meal. If we're not eating steak, we eat steak as well. But ceviche, we eat all the time. We probably eat it 5 days a week. And they bring the heat, which is how they say it in Spanish, but they bring the heat. And it comes in a little separate container. They don't add spice to any of the food. They bring it separately. And each restaurant kind of makes their own heat. And some of it's really hot. I mean, even, by Johnny Scoville, the old Johnny Scoville standards, some of the stuff is really hot. And one day while we were there, siblings suck. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But Johnny threw some into the, and I kind of matched what he did. And man, it burned the heck out of me. Like it really, really stung. And I said to him that day, I'm like, our tolerance is about the same. Like, what are the odds of that? And I suggested, I said, look, if your tolerance is gone, you should rebuild your tolerance and let the world watch it. I mean, how many people showed up after you were already the legend Johnny Scoville? Why don't you let people watch you rebuild the stuff? And I think he didn't realize just how bad his tolerance was until he took a fat spoonful of this stuff tonight. Ceviche is a staple in Ecuador. Have you tried guinea pig yet? Koi? I have not. Now, the reason I haven't is not because I'm afraid of trying guinea pig. It is something that I do intend to try. However, since being here, I've only seen it twice. And both times it was from a street vendor. And I'll be honest, I'm a little sketched about eating things from street vendors here. Like I don't mind buying coconuts, things that they cut the top off while you're sitting there. But the water, if they use water in the preparation of anything that they're cooking, then I have a chance of, winding up with the scoots. Sorry, if you've been around a long time, that's an old joke from back in the day. You're surprised that Johnny hasn't burned his taste buds off. Well, you know what? Perhaps he did, but today they were certainly back. Ice cream from street vendors in Ecuador is great. You're probably right. I'm still a little concerned about that. Tony Suter says, do not eat a rodent. I'm pretty sure I've eaten rodent before. just not this particular kind of rodent. I am very I'm courageous when it comes to trying different kinds of food. Hey, Susie, good to see you. Running a little late, you were working out. You know what? That's completely legit. Working out is a great reason to be street rodent, not recommended. You know what? I got to put that comment up there because what are the odds that anyone is ever going to use that comment again? You realize how long YouTube's been in business and how many videos are out there? How many times do you think that comment has been in a live chat? Street rodent, not recommended. That's just good stuff right there. That really is. And from Mass says, I have a high pain tolerance usually, but not for spicy things. They just hurt. My late husband and daughter both loved spicy foods. My daughter definitely got it from her dad. You know, Timothy Glass says, do not eat roadkill. Again, that one might have come up in chat, but probably not often. Now that's just embarrassing.
It's only a gallon.
It's only a gallon.
Milk, but I can drink a gallon of yogurt.
Did you see that, folks? We got that gallon today. He just drank a gallon of yogurt. Eating guinea pig sounds a bit grim to me, says Archie's mom. Well, here's the promise. If and when I try koi, we're going to record it, right? Who can say not only have I tried guinea pig, but I let the entire world watch me try guinea pig. Also, I went out last week to the chocolateria. There's a section of Ecuador, and it's the Punta. It's all the way out to the very tip of Salinas. Hey, Blitz. It's about as west as you can get in South America. It's really out there. And that's where the sea lions hang out. I went out there to watch for whales. Took a cab out there, just hung out by my onesies and just sort of walked around for a little while. And I have video of the whales. It's nonstop. I mean, you go out there during whale season and like you see the thing hit the water and I thought, oh man, I missed it. 2 seconds later, it jumps back out of the water. 2 seconds later, and then I realized that they're everywhere. I mean, over the course of about 5 minutes, I probably saw 25, 30 times where a whale would jump itself completely out of the water and then do the big tail slap and all that. It was amazing. Terrible day for filming, or I would have brought everybody with me. But I'm going to be going out there again this week. And it's really, and I will absolutely take Johnny Scoville this time. Yeah, it's the place to watch him. It's kind of where they hang out. They'll bring their little ones there. It's where the moms come apparently to give birth. Blitz says, I heard guinea pig is delicious. Everyone I have spoken to here says that guinea pig is amazing. It's not that they're limited in meat. It's that apparently they breed incredibly quickly. And they're very high in protein. And it's just, they're a lot easier to raise, I guess, than birds are. So there's a lot of the population that swears by it, and I'm certainly going to give it a shot. I only ate Hassenpfeffer unknowingly. I never knowingly ate rabbit. It feels so wrong. You know, I'm a rabbit fan, but I have had Hassenpfeffer. But I have a thing about food. If I have a shot at trying it, I'm going to. I tried blowfish you were with me, were you not? Were you with me in Sydney when we did the blowfish? Then it was 2 friends of mine from Houston, Texas, and we were in Sydney, Australia, and we were at a restaurant that kind of was famous for serving this. And if you serve it wrong, apparently, you know, you can kill someone fairly easily with it. And it was the thing that was cool was the fact that we could say that we tried it. It was not, I mean, it wasn't particularly, you know, it wasn't a taste bud experience. It was like eating any other whitefish. It didn't do a whole lot for me. But I like the idea of having an opportunity to try things. You know, I've done the snake, I've done the alligator. Anytime, especially with meat. If I have a chance at trying it, I'm going to. I liked rabbit, but I was lied to, and that was not appreciated. You know, I really have a problem with people who lie to me about foods. For real, that bothers me. I don't think it's funny when people do like my brother, you know, obviously the tube of terror. That's Johnny Scoville's tube of terror. It's the hottest peanuts in the world. And there are a lot of videos online of people getting burned on those. Guys that went to the hospital, guys, one guy called 911. One guy pulled his car over on the side of the road to call 911. Didn't think he could make it to the hospital. There's some really funny videos of people trying to eat the tube of terror. But there's a couple of them out there where people tricked somebody into thinking that they were eating regular peanuts, that kind of thing. I've never found that funny. You know what I mean? It isn't. It's I view it kind of the same way as people that would, give somebody a drug without them knowing it. To me, that is a really, really uncool thing. I don't want anybody giving me anything and then telling me afterwards what they gave me. I think that's really uncool. When in, sure, heck, just put ketchup on whatever you're eating, says B Lady. Well, there you go. I mean, there's always the fallback of putting ketchup on there, unless you're Johnny Scoville, because the heat content in Heinz 57 might be a little over the top for Johnny these days. The sad thing is his tolerance will be back in 2 weeks, and then I'll be the one getting burned again. But it'll be fun for 2 weeks, man. It really will. It'll be fun. I love deer and rabbits and squirrels. Get me through winter along with my garden bounty. Timothy Glass, I had a friend when I was growing up who was an old guy, very, very old. And I don't know, he was kind of a friend of the family, and I'm sure I annoyed the hell out of him. Hindsight being 2020, I probably drove this man nuts. But I used to hang out and watch him, and he was like the genuine article. He was an old school Vermonter. His bathroom was an outhouse, and it was a good 50 yards from his house. So in the winter, when it was 20 below zero, this guy would trek out to this thing in the middle of the night and use an outhouse. But everything, he never bought meat. He never bought vegetables. Everything that man ate, he grew or he hunted. And yeah, it was fascinating to me. But he ate a lot of squirrel. He ate a lot of, he had a thing about deer. If deer gets into your garden in Vermont, you can shoot deer out of season. And I got to be honest, I think a lot of times those deer might have not been exactly on his garden when they met their maker. But he wasted nothing. Growing up, I was kind of tripped out by the whole hunting thing. But this was a guy that, when you went into his house to eat, all of his utensils were made with antlers. Like there was nothing on a deer he didn't use. He used the hides. He made stuff out of everything. Nothing was ever wasted. It was pretty wild. He made his own cheese too. He made cheddar cheese that was so sharp that it was painful. I'm not kidding. Like it was really a tough thing. And the Johnny roast just keeps on going, says Susie. And it's funny you say that, because roasting is exactly what has been happening to his taste buds. Anytime he gets anything hotter than that cool, refreshing yogurt. Mother-in-law made me roasted rabbit years ago. Wouldn't tell me what it was. Tasted like dark chicken meat to me. It's almost a standing joke, isn't it? That tastes like chicken. The frog leg thing. The first time I had frog legs, they kept saying to me, tastes exactly like chicken. And so much of what they end up giving you does taste like that. Apparently koi is the guinea pig tastes a decent amount like chicken. My dad was a hoot. He just loved riling up the neighbors. Every year he'd go deer hunting, bring it home, and hand it from a big tree in our backyard. It was hysterical. We had a neighbor that was really, really was not particularly happy with anyone that hunted. And we weren't hunters, but the guy I was just talking about, his name was Dwayne. And my dad would call Dwayne and say, do you have a deer? Have you got one this year? Because as he was getting older, hunting was more difficult for him. And he was having a harder time getting out. But if he said no, my dad would say, there's one here if you want me to get it. Because for Dwayne, that's how the man lived. Like he lived literally off the land. He never once, in the entire time I knew him, which was probably 9 years, somewhere in there, he never once went to a grocery store for anything, which I just find fascinating. I think you might find whale meat in Ecuador. Not anymore, Blitz. There was a time where that was a possibility. It is not anymore. Apparently there's a museum right down the street from where I live, which is a whale museum. And I actually made a visit there. And they used to allow certain indigenous people here to hunt whale. They do not anymore. That is, it is now a thing of the past, which I think is kind of cool. In fact, they have a super unique way of looking at nature. They bestowed rights upon nature the same way that they would upon a human, which is really kind of unusual. But if you read how this is all done, so you don't want to pollute here because it's just like a crime against a human being. You know, you can assault nature and be charged the same way you would for doing something like assaulting a person. So it's pretty wild, but I love it. I was wondering why KFC is better in Ecuador. Is it possible it isn't chicken? I never thought of that. I don't know, but you know what? KFC, there's a KFC, what, 500 yards? Yeah, I mean, quarter mile at the most from our home is a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it is packed like all the time. The number of people that go to Kentucky Fried Chicken around here is crazy. I was shocked at how much business they got. Kellyanne says, and your dad sounds like Chevy Chase. You know what? I was a pretty big Chevy Chase fan. I like Chevy. I found frog legs to have the texture of chicken, but had a fishy taste. Also, not a fan. You know, I kind of liked it. Love the stance on nature. I do too. And they did it before it was vogue. If you go and research it, they were the first nation to kind of take that stance. And I think that's cool. Timothy Glass says, I love frog gigging late at night on the golf course. I once lived in the middle of finger looking good. You were harvesting off of the golf course. I worked as an assistant greenskeeper, which they say doesn't mean much. Hopefully somebody got that reference. I really did work as an assistant greenskeeper millions of years ago when Spanx Calhoun was a baby. My job was working at a golf course, and I used to catch people gigging for frogs, and we would have to run them off of the golf course. It was in Texas. It was done quite a bit. They ate horse meat in Iceland, also seal meat. I don't like seal meat. It was oily. You know, I just love seals. I would really bum out on them. But I have eaten horse. Not a huge fan of horses. I mean, I like riding them. I like looking at them. I'll even bet on them occasionally, but I didn't like eating them. My late hubby was a chef and loved trying new things. If there was meat he hadn't had yet, trust me, we'd end up trying it. Bear and shark were both awful. Just saying. I did not like shark. Yeah, KFC for real. There is so much. There really is a big thing in Ecuador about Kentucky Fried Chicken. They love it. They absolutely love it. I personally wouldn't go in there and eat. I shouldn't say that. When I first got here, I was going to go in and order Kentucky Fried Chicken. However, you don't really deal with a human being. It's all completely computerized. So you go in and you pick stuff off of a board and you type this screen, and there are, Ecuadorian kids all in their teens ordering at the speed of light. And I'm in there trying to translate and figure this out. And it made me feel pressured. I felt like the whole world was looking at me and I wasn't very good at what I was doing. Kind of bummed me out. Explosive video recovered. Trump invited Uncle Luke to a party at Mar-a-Lago with underage girls. Well, I will be checking that out, Depeche Mode. If I come across that, we may end up talking about that here on the show. Do they eat puffins in Ecuador? Not to the best of my knowledge, but I can't say that with authority. I've not heard of that. I've not seen it on any menu, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, the shark was terrible. I did not like shark at all. Bear I have had, and I actually thought bear was pretty good. Blackened shark is really good, but I think you could you could put that seasoning on chalk on a chalkboard, and I'd like it. I've always believed that when they do that whole blackened fish, whatever it is, it's because it's a way to make the meat taste good, even if the meat isn't good. I like blackened fish, I really do. But like I had catfish. They served a lot of blackened catfish in Texas, and I always liked it. But I always thought, if it's a great piece of meat or a great piece of fish, blackening it up didn't seem to make sense to me. But what do I know? It's better on the computer because there are photos. It was easier than speaking Spanish for me. Ashley G, I'm just so bad at technology that the combination of the two. First of all, I don't speak the language. Second of all, I've got to do the computer thing, and I'm so bad at computers. I in the morning show, if you ever caught the morning show, I talk a lot about one of the things that drove me into drug use was the belief that I was not as smart as the rest of the world. I really, really struggled with a learning disability that made me feel just awful. You know, it didn't make me feel right, you know, and that was kind of a bummer. And that's kind of how I felt trying to work a computer that was in a different language. Honestly, I really did. Johnny says sharks don't have bladders. They urinate through their skin. If you don't marinate them overnight, they taste like ammonia. And Johnny would know, because if there's something foul that smells or tastes like ammonia, there's a good chance that not only has he eaten it, but he's tried to make me eat it as well. Yeah, Depeche Mode, I'll tell you what, I don't mind talking about politics, but that's dangerously along the lines of the us versus them kind of politics. So if you don't mind, you know, there are going to be people here that dig that, and then they start yelling back and forth, and it's just one of those things that doesn't go well, especially when we're all just trying to get a laugh. You know what I mean? I've been known to hand fishing for snapping turtles. Some weird taste you will find in them. I love it. You know what? Snapping turtles are vicious, man. I saw a YouTube video where a guy was using like a broom handle as a demonstration, and a snapping turtle went and literally snapped this broom handle like it was nothing. I have a newfound respect for those animals. I don't think I'd want to get anywhere near them. I am really looking forward to seeing the sea turtles at the Galapagos Islands. Apparently, there are sea turtles there that are hundreds of years old, literally, like they've been around for hundreds of years. There are no predators, you know, nothing. Humans have never messed with anything in the Galapagos Islands. What makes that place such a magical place to look at is they just look at you like, oh, they're back. You know, they never heard the thunder stick. You know what I mean? Nobody ever showed up with a gun and started firing it. And you know, animals tend to look at us like the killers that we are. And if you can find a place where they never saw that, you know, I think it's going to be fascinating. I really am looking forward to going to the Galapagos, and we will be going this year. I don't know exactly when yet, but we're definitely going to be doing the Galapagos Islands this year. Looking forward to it. We're going to take you with us as much as we can. Yeah, as much as we can. I've been dipping my toes into learning about certain topics. Got called stupid by my dad and a donkey. Oh, that sucks. If you know what I mean. I don't know enough to have an official choice on that. Here's the deal. The problem with education, right, is that there are things that you can be educated on, and they're factual. And then there are things that you can be educated on that it's going to be my opinion, your opinion, and the truth. And when you start to get into the subject matter where it's my opinion, your opinion, and then what the real truth is, we end up sometimes thinking we spent so much time researching this that my opinion must be the truth. But even the research that we do has to come from somewhere. And the fact that this information gets delineated, the fact that they're going to let it out to us in the first place, someone had to make the decision to let it out. And I don't believe, unfortunately, that there are certain subject matters that we're never really going to know, right? We're just not. There's a lot of people that, you know, have really sort of weighed in on some of the issues. The Epstein thing is a perfect example. The Dems had all of the information on the Epstein stuff. If it was in their wheelhouse and the stuff in there could be damaging to the current president, trust and believe we'd have heard about it. And the shoe is the same way when it's on the other foot. Now, now that the Republicans have this stuff, I think what we will find, if we ever get the truth to come out, what I think we'll find is that there's not either party that's going to come out of this looking good. And I don't think that as bad as this is, I don't think that the scandal is going to be that so-and-so was with somebody underage. The scandal is going to be that both parties have done everything they can to hide the truth on this. Both parties have been absolutely knee-deep in foul territory of making sure that we don't know what happened. And that is the disgusting part, because some agency, some country, some deal, some little conglomerate of intelligence agencies all got together. And that's disgusting. Recently we found out that, the stuff that's been leaked and is starting to come out about what happened through the whole Trump's first term and how, did he collude with the Russians or this or that? All of those people that signed that document, all of those people who were involved in the upper echelons of gathering information, right? These are the people that worked in the CIA and they worked in intelligence, throughout our country. They all signed that stuff, and it's bullshit, right? They all put their name to it knowing it was BS. Well, those are the people that decide whether or not we're going to be able to listen to any of this. These are the people that decide what information is going to get, bled out to us. Well, if those people are all full of crap, then I don't know. The days of Woodward and Bernstein, the days of people that actually went out and chased these topics down, we know for a fact, right? A stone cold fact, that there were 3 stories on Epstein that blew the entire thing open, that had those stories been allowed to come out, ABC, a lot of these people, they had an opportunity to stop this before, the victim list hit 1,000. And, the powers that be said, you're not going to release this article. Vanity Fair was one, ABC was another. CNN, there were so many chances that people had to actually break the story, but nobody wanted to. Too much pressure. It's scary to me that we don't know what's going on. Right? We really don't. We don't have any idea. I don't know who's running the world, but I'm pretty damn convinced that it isn't the president of the United States of America. I'm pretty sure that the powers that run the world are taking their marching orders from somebody else. And the stuff that you can research without a lot of help, you can take a look at Macron's book collection and see that he's got books on pedophilia right on the shelf behind him for his presidential photo. If that's not doing this one to the camera, I don't know what is. And that's disgusting to me. The fact that they come out and say there's 1,000 victims. Now, nobody victimized them, right? There aren't any guys guilty of this. There wasn't a credible list. There's 1,000 victims, man. That means that there are people that victimized them. Wow, newsflash, the world is cruel. Arrests, busts, I'm right. The world is disgusting. There's absolutely no 2 ways about it. What's scary to me is the stories that we're not hearing, right? Stories we're not hearing. The stuff that gets buried, like the Epstein story. When Vanity Fair did their article on Epstein, the socialite, they got it. They got everything. They had the list of people that had been going down to the islands. They had all of that, and that was back 15 years before the rest of the world knew what this guy was, and that got buried, right? Just like ABC buried a story, just like they all did. Everybody's buried the stories. William says, I kind of want to hear what's Tommy's take about the CEOs that got caught at the Coldplay concert. By the way, my Rhinoceros, thank you so much for the support. You have no idea what it means. I mean that. It's a huge deal. It really is, and it means the world to me. I'll tell you something. I think that this is fascinating. It really is. It's a fascinating story. Now that the girl that he was photographed with is now suing him, which makes a hell of a lot of sense, honestly, right? You talk about a target. This is a guy that I think they're both guilty. I think, however, if you happen to be somebody that runs a company, if you're having a relationship with a subordinate, that's foul. It really is. That's foul. And he was cheating on his wife. I hope she gets half of it. I really do. I hope she takes him to the cleaners just for the embarrassment factor, if nothing else. Can you imagine turning on the television and seeing your billionaire husband with another woman at a Coldplay concert? Good Lord, how embarrassing. But it's instant karma or justice or whatever you want to call it. That's a beautiful way to see it come out, isn't it? For real. Hey, there you are. And he did tried to do the duck. Funny story. I was driving through my hometown at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had snuck out of my house. I shouldn't have been out of my house. But my parents used to go to bed at about 9:30. So at about 10:30 or 11, I jumped out, got on the roof, shimmied down the pole, the same way I did it every time I snuck out. I got in my car and I backed it down the driveway without turning it on. We had a big, long, steep driveway. And I cruised into town. And my mom's best friend was a woman named Betty. We used to call her Hawkeye because no matter what I did wrong, Hawkeye was there. If I had somehow got to Japan, right, to go break the law, she would have been having dinner at a Japanese restaurant somewhere in Hong Kong, and I would have been busted. It's just kind of how it went down always. But I was driving through town at like 1 o'clock in the morning and had a few beers, and my friend Lurch was in the passenger seat, and I look out the window, and walking on the sidewalk at 1 o'clock in the morning was Hawkeye. And my friend saw her before I did, and he was like, Hawkeye! And I did this one and like ducked my head. So as she looked at the car, right, I had a pretty distinctive little automobile and had a big sticker in the back window that said Yaga's. It was a store from Galveston, Texas. But it looked like a neon guy with dreadlocks, and the dreadlocks were like 5 different colors in neon. It was very distinctive, and it took up half of my back window. Very intelligent in hindsight. But she got to see my car go by at 1 o'clock in the morning with nobody driving it. Didn't work out very well. She told on me every single time too. Not once did she ever give me a pass. Pro tip: don't get married. If you're the type to have an affair, you are right at Barbara Wade. Yeah, if you're gonna be that dude, stay single, right? Don't bother. I have books to teach me about such topics with legit documents from history. I'm currently reading that. My guy is so patient, willing to listen and share his thoughts and beliefs and opinions. No judgment. Wow, that's fantastic. Seriously, that's the person that you want. It really is. And he's lucky as hell. Believe that. If you got somebody that, if you have somebody that past a certain age is willing to say things like, I don't know, but I'd like to learn. But, you know, Americans in general, right? People, but Americans, we don't like saying, I don't know. We hate it. We like to pretend that we know everything, right? It's uncomfortable. You know what? Like her or hate her. My ex was fantastic about that. She was really great at saying, I don't know. And every time she did, it was like she was a sponge. She wanted so badly to learn whatever it was that she didn't know. It was actually a lot of fun. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. You never know what the next episode of the Scoville Brothers will deliver to you. Correct. It could be chasing the yogurt. Can I get a deuce? If you think Johnny should change the name of his channel to Chase the Yogurt. Chase the Eat South America says, Hawkeye busted me often too. She busted both of us. I mean, it was all the time. I remember as I got older, I was like 18-ish, and it was getting to the point where I didn't care anymore. You know what I mean? Like now you're getting busted and you're like, you got to be kidding. And I remember once sitting at a like a dinner party that they were having, and she said, did you get a hat that says Oakland, the Oakland A's on it? And I should have said no, right? But I wasn't thinking. And I went, yeah, I did. I just got one. She's like, were you standing in front of a place called NT Farrow's? It's Jewelers. She goes, were you standing in front of Farrow's at like 2 o'clock in the morning last night? And I said to her, what the hell were you doing out at 2 o'clock in the morning? Why were you out there? No, it wasn't me. Yeah. Sadly, chasing the scoots. Nice. Well played. Well played. I'm putting that up there because that's just funny. Ashley G says, it's how you learn. My father was fond of saying that the smartest words in the English language were, I don't know. My dad was so much smarter than, he was just, he really was the gold standard. He was such a great father. My mother and her twin sister built houses next to each other. I was never going to get away with anything with my aunt right there. What a nightmare, Barbara. Good Lord. The king of yogurt. He drank a gallon. Honestly, if I had just filmed him chugging the yogurt, that would have been a great video. Can you imagine? My hat is off. My almost Lacoste Ecuador hat is off to Johnny Scoville. Honestly, one of the best sports alive. He, and it says a lot about him, for real. He's so much more comfortable having people mock him for not having a tolerance than he is having people call him a legend. I think that says a lot about my brother. I really do. I wish I had noticed that first, by the way. Someone far smarter than me actually said that. But it hit me. It was the person said it. I was like, you know what? That's the truth. I love that about my brother. It's what makes him a legend. Yeah. That's fun. All fun and games, right? Call me a guru. I'm very lucky with my boyfriend. He told me he would never resort to name calling to win an argument. He's a keeper, Jamie Palmer. Straight up, between that comment and your previous one, that man is, without a doubt, a keeper. Susie says, Johnny is now officially a yogi as well as a legend. That's right. That is right. Kellyanne says, it was nice to see him laughing so much. Kellyanne, you were responsible for about half of that. You guys have no idea how hard he laughed when he stopped filming. I'm not kidding. He sat at the computer with tears running down his face from laughing. He said, I've never laughed that hard making a video ever. And just go look at all the videos where he was beating on me, because that's usually when he laughs the hardest. Yeah, true. But he was laughing harder tonight than I have ever seen him. Yoga guru, no question. You should see the man. He is actually, you haven't seen him in a while because we haven't filmed. He's coming along. Johnny's frustratingly good at everything. He really is. He's just been very yogurt guru. Yogurt, nice. He was sort of a natural athlete. He's pretty much good at most things that he tries. I told you the story. I took him out skiing in a helicopter. He hadn't skied in like 20 years. And I took him to some gnarly terrain, forced him to jump off cliffs, did all kinds of really, really sick stuff. And yeah, he nailed it all day long. I mean, there was a brief moment where he said to me, I'm not going down that. I'm going to climb up this. And I said, you go where? Where are you going to climb to? You know what I mean? Wait for the helicopter? But he not only did he go, but he stuck it. He's Johnny is game, right? If nothing else. His motto has always been, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. And there was a time in our life where that wasn't such a good thing. But nowadays, it's fantastic. How is the yogurt in Ecuador? The best I've ever had anywhere. We do an awful lot of yogurt. In fact, Johnny did a gallon of it today. We buy a lot of liquid yogurt, and we use it eating like granola kind of cereal. Instead of milk, we use yogurt. And it's really great for your gut. And if I were buying it in the United States, I could never afford to do that. It's very, very expensive. Like the kefir stuff, to buy a gallon of that, you'd be looking at, a ton of money. And we can get a gallon of yogurt, liquid yogurt here without preservatives and without, all of the dyes and stuff in it. And what is it, $4 a gallon? It's very, very inexpensive. $4.37. How's that? We're penny pinching. We've gotten to the point where we can tell you the price of everything. It's almost sad. My mom kicked us out of the house after Saturday morning cartoons. Let us come back for lunch. Kicked us out again until dinner. Same thing on Sundays. We could have been naughty, but we weren't. You know what, Ann? I think about this all of the time, but my parents used to drop us off at Killington Mountain. We would get dropped off at the mountain at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and they would pick us up at about 5. And, that was the routine. We did it, all of the time. We did it every weekend for sure. And anytime there was a holiday or anything, but you think about the size of that mountain. We used to, at the time, there was a lift in the town of Bridgewater, Vermont. And you would go through Bridgewater, through Sherburne, into Killington. And by the time you stretched it all out, you could be on a mountain 16 miles away from where your parents dropped you off. It's amazing we didn't get in more trouble. And don't get it messed up. We got in a lot of trouble. But it's amazing we didn't get into a lot more trouble. Krista Melinda says, Johnny's first yoga video ever, totally worth watching. However, make sure, if you didn't see his review of the hot sauce that he did tonight, he's got 8,000 videos. I promise you, I'm going to watch the one that he did tonight more than I've seen any others. And there's some funny ones that I'm in. There's a video where I make a sound while roughly a gallon of milk leaves my body in the course of about 2 seconds. It's one of the funniest sounds you've ever heard. And that one gets played a lot because it's just super funny. But nothing was funnier than the show he did tonight. Addict for life. You two are addicts. Best hope for living again and feeling eternal love. You know what? I'm happy with the addictions that I'm currently going with. I really am. I'm in a good place. I'm definitely still an addict. I'm always going to be. I get very addicted to the things that I do. But the milk video is hilarious. It really is. The funniest part of that milk video is we were filming it, and my mother showed up about halfway through us filming it, and she managed to walk out just as I hurled a gallon of milk, literally, right as I blow chunks of like projectile. Absolutely horrible. And I look up, and my mother is standing at the door, and it was we were 12 years old again. You know what I mean? It was my mother just looking at us like, good God, are you kidding me? Like, what are you guys, 50 something? Yeah, it was magic. That was that was really a great video. I wish we could have had if we had the film of Mama Scoville's face, that would have gone viral, because the look on her face was just, it wasn't even disappointment. It was shock.
It was really, really.
Yeah, really. Like, good God, who raised you? You know, I wish I had $1 for every time my mother would say, you know what, if I didn't watch you being born, I would swear that you weren't, that you didn't come from me in any way. For Johnny's Liquid Yogurt Fund, thank you, B-Lady. I promise you he's going to need it, and that will absolutely go to a good place. We're going to have to replace all of the stuff that he did tonight. Renee B., you have a good night's sleep. And if you are journaling, you make sure that you write down all of the dream jobs that are a possibility for you. Start visualizing that, because I'm telling you, something fantastic is coming. This is a new season. In a world where we struggle to define ourselves, to find our identity, I have no idea who I am, but I think you might be Pony Boy. Oh, my Lord. That is the funniest thing I've read in a really, really long time. That is fantastic. Yeah, B-Lady, that is awesome. That really is. Thank you for the support. That is going to go to a really good cause. Johnny definitely needs more yogurt, especially since he now intends to build back his tolerance. But I got to put this up there. How funny is this? In a world where we struggle to define ourselves, to find our identity, I have no idea who I am, but I think you might be Pony Boy. That is gold. The bees are paying off. Yeah, that is, again, thank you so much. Lord knows he needs it. Boy, there's a lot of truth to that. And thank you all for the laughs tonight. I'm telling you, yesterday was one of the best days of my life. I'm not joking. It's really been, I'm sorry. Sometimes we never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Made some of those tonight. Barbara, wait. Keeping with the Dr. Seuss, I love it. That's 3 good Seuss references in one show. It's reason enough to watch it again. Thank you, Barbara. That's awesome. Truthfully, yesterday was one of those things that floored me. You know, you screw up in life as much as I have, and there are very few times that you think to yourself, this is exactly what I ought to be doing at this moment. You know, I can look back on my life and think of all of the times where I should have been doing something else in the moment that I was doing something wrong or illegal or immoral or whatever. But yesterday was one of those things that where I know that's exactly where I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing. But it was heavy as hell. You know what I mean? There weren't any laughs yesterday. It was beautiful, and it's going to change probably the rest of my time on this planet. But it wasn't funny. And there's been a lot of heavy lately. You guys rose to the occasion to roast my brother, and to do it in a way that there was nothing mean in any of those comments, but they were creative as hell. They were funny. We've joked in the past. I said to Johnny, would you ever want to be roasted? You know, like you see a roast of this person or a roast of that person. And we both, agreed that I don't think that would be something I'd want to do because of our past. I mean, roasts would probably be pretty cruel. And tonight was a roast, and there was not one moment of cruelty, but it was funny as hell. I mean, you talk about just creativity. The chat was on fire. I'm not kidding. When I go back, I'm going to watch that. When this is over, I'm going back to watch that and read the comments. They were unbelievable. Everybody was just so funny. It was great. In fact, I'm going to talk him into getting burnt more and more and more so that we can keep that going. I think that, in fact, put a 2 in the chat if you want to watch Johnny rebuild his tolerance while we continue to roast him. Yeah, throw a deuce up there. Timothy Glass says, my memory bank is now valued more than my bank account. Thanks for the memories. You know what? Me too. Absolutely. You change as you get older and you evolve. The view of the ocean from 250 feet up is breathtaking. But the view of standing next to somebody that had just lost his brother and was on his 4th day of kicking heroin and doesn't have one human being left on earth, I think I could live 4 or 5 blocks away from the ocean. You know, maybe put that money to better use. It's one of those things that change you. You know. Only nibble by nibble with a jug of yogurt. yeah, we're gonna watch Johnny burn himself. It seems to be a decisive yes, Johnny. People want to watch you Friday night fights, Johnny versus the Heat. I like it. I like it. Stick around, people. I promise you. Tomorrow I'm going to spend hours trying to find a hot sauce just a little bit hotter than the one that Johnny did today. I don't care if I have to go to Guayaquil. I am going to find a hotter hot sauce. In fact, it's going to be my new mission in life, to continue to get sauces just a little hotter than the one that you did today. What an awesome high to experience. More to come. We are praying for. Yeah, well, we have already locked in now 2 days a week instead of 1. Rip Curl, good to see you, my brother. We will be at the rehabilitation center with the fellas 2 days a week starting next week instead of 1. And it was great because they reached out to us and, we said, it must be incredible to see that, week in, week out. These people have been doing that a really long time. And the response was, oh, it's not like that. That was not, that doesn't happen every day here. That was unbelievable. All parties involved there, watched something happen that was unique and humbling. Super, super humbling. So we're going to have the opportunity to go there 2 times a week and test that theory about connection being the opposite of every ailment known to man. Going to spend the weekend out and about. Rummage sale tomorrow and a bike show on Sunday, depending on the weather. I love going to rummage sales. Love them. And I love going to thrift stores. Those 2 things are some of my favorite things on earth. Thrift stores more than anything, because I have scored watches at thrift stores that you would not believe. My favorite watch thrift store story. I bought a watch. Nevada is the name of the watch, but it's not N-E, it's N-I-V-I-D-A. A Nevada Grinchen, and it's an 18 karat gold watch. I bought it for $6.50. True story. And got it home, and when I got the band off and read in between the lugs, it'll tell you, how the gold is put on, how many microns of plating, or whether it's roll gold plate or whatever it was, and it said 18K. And I just said, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. And it was 39 millimeters, big watch, big, huge chunk of gold. And it was worth about $12,000. And there's just something about buying something for $6.50 that's worth 12 grand that will get you really fired up on continuing to hit up thrift stores. Now, full disclosure, never happened to me again. But I've bought watches for 50 that were worth a couple of thousand dozens of times. If you go and you know what you're looking for. I'm currently looking for a roll top desk. They're a bit expensive, but I'm looking literally everywhere. You know what's sad? I left the greatest roll top desk on earth. Mine. I left it in the United States. Could not possibly get it here. But if you look at really old videos of the lifeboat before it was the love boat, and look at the early days, you'll see me sitting at that roll top desk. Absolutely. I mean, unbelievable. The most beautiful one you ever saw, but I couldn't. To get it here would cost me. It would cost me more money than the fun I could have with it. It would cost me more money than a car to get it here. But that kind of thrift store find is a rush. It really is. It really is. All right, people. I'm going to go pick on my brother, and we're going to watch that together. I love seeing him laugh. It's fun to mock him because he does it to me constantly, but seeing my brother laugh that hard, that's a drug in and of itself. It really is. So I love you guys, and I love your sense of humor. Keep doing what you're doing, because I promise you, Johnny Scoville is going to be giving you way more opportunities, because I got to see this through to its final conclusion. I want to see everybody getting a good laugh out of Johnny until the tolerance is back to the legend status. All righty. Tomorrow morning, I will be there. Like I said, if I'm really hurting, I'm just going to watch Johnny do some Tabasco sauce and I'll be ready to roll. Between now and tomorrow morning when we talk about journaling here, do me a favor. Put a little love in your heart. God bless you guys. You're fantastic. And thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. Bye-bye.